Hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to be telling you about the time that my best friend of a few years left me stranded in the middle of Naples all alone for doing the helicopter in his aunt's pool. Crazy story. So, we have Hugo's today. This is the build your own omelet, one of my favorite dishes. And I got some special seasonal sides. Brussels sprouts, of course, because who says no to Brussels sprouts? And the mashed yams. Oh, thank you, Hugo's hooking me up. Said it's like yams with syrup in it. Ew. And then just some boring broccoli. So that's what we're gonna be picking out on this morning. It was so good. If I had a chef, I would like make me Thanksgiving food every single Friday year round. Like I like it that freaking much. All right, so back to the story. So my old best friend, he was just a really bad person. I remember like every roommate he had would like just stop paying rent, and then they just like be living there for months and like promising him rent and stuff and never pay. Actually, everyone I've known in LA has had roommates like that. Like roommates are horrible. Freeloaders, like they just don't want to pay. They don't want to do crap. Like screw that. But for this man, like I was glad he had to go through that because he was just a horrible person. And he got banned from Amazon. He was stealing from them. I think he was like banned from like Uber Eats or DoorDash or something. Like all sorts of places like that. Just banned. Remember Amazon, yeah, he had stolen like, I don't know, like 40 grand worth of shit. He just like would say things didn't come or he got the wrong item or just all sorts of crap. I think he was even like returning things that didn't come in the packaging and they just didn't even open it and they like processed the return. And this dude was like stealing power from his neighbor. So they had an EV charger, right? And he literally brought an electrician in and told them to steal power from the neighbor so he could charge his car for free. His neighbor, one time he had like a Ring camera or something, and she was out there, and her friend was like, "You the oldest hoe on the block." And then she like reported him for elder abuse. She was like 7 years old. This is elder abuse. She had like the elder abuse hotline like sitting there on her back door, and every time he would come over, she would like look at it and be like, "Ooh, I'm gonna call them on you." Actually, one time his next door neighbor was flipping a house. He literally broke in, stole all the appliances, and sold them on the internet. And he actually got caught and went to jail for I don't know how long. The dude was like vegan. So imagine being in jail as a vegan, like growing up like upper middle class, like a nice little privileged lifestyle. And then you're just in jail for stealing. Got like fired from his job for stealing from them. Just an all around horrible person. So his parents, they like overextended themselves. So my friend was an interior designer, but he wanted to do his first flip. He ended up losing like, I don't know, like 40 grand on it. Like it didn't go well at all. And the parents just overextended themselves, like trying to pay for this. So they were so stressed out, but his aunt invited him to come to Naples, and it was really for the mom, so she could like dog watch. And in the meantime, she gets to enjoy their nice mansion in Naples with like a pool. And it was like on the little man-made lake. It was like a couple $1 million home. It was just a few bedrooms, but it was still really nice. But it was in boring retirement town, Naples. It is literally one of the most boring places I have ever been. If you're in your 20s, there's literally nothing to do there. Nothing. I was bored out of my mind. But I was like, Florida, nice pool. I was like, why not? We'll go to Miami for a day or two. We get there and they are acting like they don't have a pot to pee in. The father, I don't know, he makes like, I'd say like around $1 million a year. Like he makes good money, but for some reason they just blow it all. They've got like the Range Rovers, and they've got their dream home, and they kept like renovating the dream home, and now they've bought their son this flip, and the flip's gonna lose money. Like they were just in a bad situation. So they're like, okay, we're gonna like cook every meal, like be super budgety. So they go to Publix, and they are like so cheap. They're basically like clipping coupons. I was like, okay, this is crazy. They didn't want to eat out like one time on the whole trip, right? And then me, I was like, yeah, I guess I'll get some groceries, but like I'm on vacation, I'm gonna eat out. And I miss like middle America suburban chains like Longhorn Steakhouse. So one night I just like Uber Eats Longhorn Steakhouse, and I'm just eating it, and they're like sitting here eating their rabbit food they got from like the bargain bin. And yeah, I mean, I felt a little guilty, but it was my first time meeting his mom. I remember she picked me up there at the Naples airport, and she was like very judgmental. Like she just didn't want to like me from the second she met me. I don't know if it's because I'm a femboy or just she just has like problems with her son's sexuality. I don't know what it is, but for some reason, her and I did not vibe. So she's like very judgmental. And my friend points this out later. He's like, didn't you think my mom was like really judging you hard? Mind you, his mom, she like worked in retail in her early 20s, and then her husband like found her and they got married, and she was a housewife and she never had to work again. So she's not really one to be judging me in my career. So I told her, I was like, I'm flipping like 3 multifamily buildings at the moment and I manage them and whatever. And I'm about to get into development. So I'm telling her all this and she's just like, okay. He's driving the car. She's like looking in the rearview mirror, like rolling her eyes at me, just like making all these sounds. And then she kind of goes something like, well, don't you think you should be doing more with your life? I was like, this is like a full-time job. What are you talking about? 3 flips at once? How many flips do I need to be doing at once to please you? And second of all, you are my mother. How about saying good job? Like keep at it and make good money and eventually you'll have 10 flips at once. I don't know. It was just really, really weird. Like, is she being a hater? I'm sorry, like your son has 1 flip and it's not going well and I've got 3 flips and they're all going great. Trying to be polite, they're letting me stay at his aunt's house for free. I was like, the least I can do is be polite. Like, maybe she's just having a day. I don't really understand this. I know they're in like some financial distress and stuff. So I was like still just putting up with it. But yeah, I felt like really uncomfortable just being there. I was like, do you not want me here? Naples to me was kind of a weird place. I remember they're like, watch out for the toads when you take the dog for a walk, or like the toad will eat your dog. And you know, in Florida, all the pools have to be screened in, so all the bugs don't get you, and the gators don't come for a swim. Florida's just like not a real place. I'm totally convinced that. So all the neighbors, this was like a retirement community, this gated community, and they're all, you know, over the hill, right? So they're no fun. My friend and I, he's like blasting Bad Bunny. So for some reason, yeah, the mom like disappeared for a few days or something. So we had the house like all to ourselves, right? And we turned it into a party house. He's like, oh, let's lay out. It was his idea to lay out in the flesh by the pool. And him and I used to do this at the property he was flipping, and it was really weird because him and I were always just friends. Like, we had known each other for a few years. Always like a friend thing. And then I remember the house he was flipping, it had a beautiful pool. And it was so much fun. My boyfriend would come over, and it was like me, my boyfriend, and him, and we'd all just be like out there just doing our thing in his flip. And yeah, we wouldn't leave with a tan. Let's just put it like that, boom, boom. Out there skinny dipping and having the time of our life. I think if he wouldn't have been blasted the Bad Bunny, like the neighbors wouldn't have been like feeling some type of way. But like, I don't even really like Bad Bunny, so like, I didn't really want it. But you know, it's his place. Like, it's not my place to tell him what to do. So I'm just going with it. And then he's like, do the helicopter so I can like send it to my friend or whatever. And I don't know. I think he sent it to like a family member. I don't know who he sent this to. But you know, people talk and like, that's just not really respectable to do at someone's pool. I had never even met his aunt, right? Like, she was on this cruise and we're just watching the dog and taking care of the house. Taking care of it. So not one neighbor, but 2 neighbors complained. The neighbor across the street and the neighbor right next door. So these are probably like grumpy old 80-year-old men, and they probably never partied like this in the last 50 years. Like, I'm sorry. Like, come over, live a little. I'll do the helicopter for you. You don't need to sit next door with your binoculars trying to enjoy it from afar. So his mom was like freaking out because the aunt called her because the neighbors complained, and she looked at the cameras, and then maybe like the family member he sent the helicopter thing to sent her that, and then she was just pissed. She's like, I'll forgive you because you're my nephew. As for your friend, I've never met him, and I want him out of my home. This is a Christian home. This is a family home, and this was so disrespectful. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, I just did everything you told me to do. None of this was my idea. You did all of this, and now you're gonna kick me out? Yeah, so she gets back from her cruise in like a day, and she's like, yeah, if your friend isn't out of here by the time I get back, like, I'm gonna be pissed. I never want to meet that man, like, making me out to be some monster. So in the meantime, like, we only had one night in Miami. He did not offer to pay for a single thing in Miami, which I was like, I like to do things either 5-star or like really cheap. Like it's one or the other. It's gonna be like an Airbnb and like the cheapest rental car, or it's gonna be like premium 5-star, like all out. So I didn't want to do this trip to Miami because like I was already in a bad mood from like the way his aunt was acting. And I just like, I don't know, my friend didn't seem to want to pay for things, and he acts like he doesn't have a pot to piss in, even though the dad makes $1 million a year and they have 2 homes. I don't know, the whole thing was bizarre, right? And so, okay, we're going to Miami. I get this rental car. It was literally like, I don't know, like $50 for like 2 days, like unlimited miles. So he didn't offer, he's like telling me he's not gonna drive. He's like, oh, my name's not on it. I don't feel like driving. So like, right, like if someone's paying for something, the least you could do is drive the car. No, I gotta drive us all the way to Miami. And then when we get to Miami, I have to pay for this Airbnb. And I went to like Hotel Tonight or something. It was like $90, right? Like South Beach, $90. It was like not bad at all. It was a really good deal. Like it kind of pissed me off. And yeah, we're only in Miami for like 2 days. And even there, he like wants like the cheapest food. Like he wants like fast food. I'm like, we're in Miami for one night and you're gonna eat like fast food and stuff. Like, no. So I think that was like, he only paid for like 1 meal in Miami. His food, not mine. And it was just such a joke. I was like, how did I get into this situation? I was looking at it like, look, you let me stay at your aunt's place in Naples for a few nights. Like, maybe I could buy you like one night at this really cheap, but I don't like feeling used, and like he didn't have to pay anything for that. I just see him as my photographer. I don't like when strangers take my photos. Like, he is a pretty good photographer and he's a companion. And at this point, like, I'm just paying for a companion, and that's just what it's gonna be. Because I already know, like, when we get back to Naples and might have to leave, I was like, if you kick me out of there and make me go get my own Airbnb, no way. I will never talk to you again. Like, that is not cool. But I just, like, wanted to believe that that wasn't how it was going to go down. And then the aunt's telling us, like, oh, you need to go apologize to all my neighbors and go knock on their door. So I was like, I need to apologize? You're the one blasting the music. You're the one telling me it's okay to do all this. Was a hedge around the pool, by the way, but like there were parts where you could kind of see through the hedge. It wasn't very tall, and like there were areas missing bushes, right? So you just kind of assume like no one's looking. I sure wasn't looking through the neighbors' bushes, but apparently they were looking through ours. I remember the one night we were in Miami, I had like a hookup over, and I don't ever have like hookups. I don't really do that. But he was just beautiful, and I hadn't done all that in like months, and I was like, whatever, it's something to do, right? So I asked him if my hookup and I could like come into the room. And it's only like 9 p.m., right? And he's like, no, this is the room I paid for. I shouldn't have even asked him, right? But he's like, no, I'm going to bed at 10, and you guys can just like fool around in the car or whatever. And I have too much anxiety. Like, I was like, what even? I was like, can't we just go in the bathroom or something? And then I don't know. He just like wouldn't even let us. And I was like trying to be respectful. Like, I don't know. Like, but like looking back, like, why did I even care? No, like he can go in the bathroom and we'll be in the bedroom. It was just really weird. And no, I think he had a hookup too. And like his hookup actually got to use our bedroom that I paid for. Well, we had like separate beds, of course. There weren't like juices in my bed. But yeah, so they were like in their bed. And then my hookup and I had to like do our crap in the car. So it was just like really messed up. We get back after I paid for every single thing. And then he proceeds to tell me that his aunt does in fact want me to leave. I had like 2 more nights there in Naples. And he thought I was literally gonna like stay his friend. Like, no, you're not gonna kick me out and I'm gonna like ever talk to you again, right? So it was like early the next morning. I was like, at least let me get like 1 more night in at your aunt's place before I have to start paying for an Airbnb. And then I had to rent like a second rental car now to get myself around town. Or maybe I was just Ubering around. I don't even know. It was so crazy. And then I was just like gone. So I just like left early the next morning. I was like, oh, you know how you think to yourself. You're like, should I steal anything? Should I take all the food I paid for out of their fridge? Or should I like throw it all in the trash? I was like, how do I want to leave this place? Or do I want to just like lock myself in the bedroom and not leave for 2 days? Or I don't have to pay for an Airbnb? You know, just thinking how you do. But I was like, no. Let's tone this down. Your mental health is like more important than anything else. You are never going to see this man again. Get out of this toxic environment and just pay for a really cheap Airbnb. Because I'm not paying for the 4 seasons to stay there alone and be depressed. I ended up like in like Fort Myers or somewhere awful. I think just because the airport was right by there. Like a full day or two to just kill time. I get really depressed. If I'm like solo traveling and I'm in a different city alone, like I feel like horrible. I was like, what does my life come to? I've only done that a couple times in my life and it's never made me, I like can't do that. Like I could be at home in LA and go a week without seeing any friends, but in a different city and there's like nothing to focus on, no work, no gym. No, I go crazy. So I'm in this woman's house. Her Airbnb, she gives me like so many rules. I'm just like staying in one of the bedrooms, right? She's like, oh, when you come in, you got to put all the towels like in a certain place when you're done. And then you got to check out a certain way and you got to make your bed. When you're done, you got to pull all the sheets off the bed and you got to put them in the laundry room. It was just like, I felt like I had chores. I felt like I was a little kid again, right? Thank God this man was not on my flight because we were supposed to take the same flight. He had to like switch up his flight. I remember getting on that flight and I was like looking around. I was trying not to, but you can't help yourself. But I did not see this man. I know I would have seen this man. And then I get back home and my boyfriend had let me borrow his backpack. And for some reason, like my friend gave me his backpack and then I gave him my boyfriend's backpack. So I felt bad because like my boyfriend kind of wanted his backpack back. So then my friend, he's got this like bodybuilder, this like personal trainer friend, right? The guy is huge. And he's like kind of intimidating, right? So he like reaches out to me and I was like, what is this about? Like he calls me, I was like, okay, I kind of want to like know what's going on. So I decided to respond to him. I don't know if it was because he was intimidating or like, I don't know what it was, but I wanted to know what he had to say. Does my friend want to make up? Like, what's going on? Like back in LA, and then the bodybuilder dude reaches out and he's like, you know, my friend wants his backpack. And then I was like, okay. So I asked my boyfriend, I was like, do you really want your backpack? Can I just like buy you a new backpack? And he's like, no, I really want my backpack. So I remember I wind up having to drive over. We meet in like a neutral place at one of my properties. And we're just like there. And then my friend pulls up. Because I wasn't going to like give him the satisfaction of driving to his place. And he wasn't going to give me the satisfaction of driving all the way to my place. Because we live like 25 minutes apart, right? So we meet kind of in the middle, like where one of my properties is. So it feels like common ground or whatever. And then I remember he like starts, he's like, okay, give me the backpack. And I like throw his backpack into his car. And then after I do that, he like throws the backpack at me and then he just like skirts off. It was like so insane. And then he messages me after. He's like, do you have one of the patches for my backpack? He had all these like hideous patches from like national parks all over his backpack. And he's like, one of the patches is missing. I'm like, I don't give a F. You could buy another $2 patch. I had to pay for a $200 Airbnb because of you. And you didn't pay me back from Miami. Like, you think I care about your patch? It was just the icing on the cake. Like, he was like a very toxic friend. I loved having a friend that flips. I don't have a friend that flips anymore. But he would always want me to, like, when I would go help him, be, like, helping build a fence or something. And I'd be, like, handing him stuff all day. He wouldn't pay me a dime. But then again, like, if I needed him to, like, paint a door or something, I would have to pay him. Like, just because I have more money than you doesn't mean, like, I should do stuff for free. And I should, like, you, like, the payment, like, it was just so toxic, everything about it. He was a lot of help, though, because he did let me use his, like, employee discount back when he worked at West Elm. And he was an interior designer, so he helped me design, like, 2 of my Airbnbs. And whenever I needed design advice with my buildings, like, I could go to him. But it was not worth all the toxicity. It was just, like, not for me. So, yeah, like, that's why you can't have friends in LA, because things just don't go well. And the gays, like, there's just always drama, always tea. And his mom was just so mean to me. I don't know why they had to be mean to me. I'm such a nice guy. I don't deserve that. I'm just whining. I'm just whining at the camera. I will see you guys next time.